All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well tonight. We're working on a bit of Welk. So last stream we were able to get the API talking to the front end. So the search was working and we're quite happy with that. This time what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the front end and, well, the Welk UI components and sort of implement what we need, and only what we need at the moment. That way we can work on the new project screen, and from that it'll also work with the new requirement, new request for change, and so forth like that. So let's just jump straight into it. Here's our mock-up. Socks has just gotten in the way. I had the keyboard and mouse set up perfectly, and she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit right where you're gonna use it. Now this group permission we want as a multi-select. However, at the moment we might not be able to do that, but we can do it as a drop down for the moment. So if we go Mozilla Development Network, HTML, and we just want to select, I'll do this. So we could probably essentially style this to have what it looks like in Welk. There's also a multi-select in here. We also need to sort of put in opt groups and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, I also want to look at implementing multi-select. So if we go into, let's go React select. Yeah, kind of like this. We kind of want the ability to, we'll probably start off very simple and have it like that. And that way the user can click on it and it does all of that kind of fun stuff. I just don't know how I want to fully do it. With the single select, we can do something like that. But we might style it differently. Yeah. I don't. At the moment, I'm not going to do anything overly fancy for this, because Welk will be in its initial sort of startup. We'll have some feedback from people, whether or not, if no one uses it, which is fine, we'll only implement how we want to implement it, and we won't include any excessive features for it. I've also got to keep in mind when building this stuff that we've got to have it so that it can translate, and also accessibility. So yeah, I just got to figure out a few things. We've also got to figure out all the tabs, but that's not as important at the moment because the tabs aren't blocking anything. I kind of want to get this group permissions sorted first. Now I know that there's going to be an ad break any second now on Twitch. I'm just not getting notified about it. So let's open up Welk. Let's go source. Let's open up components. We have all the text areas. We don't have a select. We have a switch component that we were building. So I want to right hand click. I want to create a new folder, and I am going to call it select. Yep, just as that, and boom, we've got an ad break. I knew the instant I hit enter, boom, ad break. So yeah, hopefully, how's everyone going? Hopefully you're going well. It is Friday here. I'm probably going to do this as a very long stream. We're going to try and get as much done as possible. Yeah. Now, I'm having a think about a few things. I've got to do some research around accessibility and drop downs, all the select stuff. Yeah. Oh, really sucks to getting pats. Sorry, my head's like rattling about different things at the same time. I'm not quite focused yet. So, my main concern is we've got to get the accessibility down pat straight away. And then from there, I don't know if I want to do multi-select as a separate entity, or component I should say, or whether or not I keep it in the one component. And we'll come across this when we get to it. Welcome back everyone. So very much like how we set up button, what we've got to do is we've got to include a couple of files. So one of them will be the index.ts. That's just to export out all of what we need. Another would be the select component. Now, sorry, I'm just giving you a bit of a think. I thought I had started to translate a lot of these from, so they've been button component, but have welk out the front of it. Oh, I've been doing like that. All right. And that's another thing which I could potentially do. Instead of having button component, I could do welk component and all that kind of stuff, and then yeah. But that's not a today problem. Just going to put that over there for reference. So we've got the select component. I'm just going to put that over there. Easy done. And then what we need to do also is we're going to have the select component, because I want to get rid of the word component. .test.ts, and that's going to contain all of the tests and stuff like that, which, yeah, pretty simple. I'm just going to put that one over on that side because I just need to reference how it's done again. Export, and that's default as, and this will be select component from, and then it's as simple as select component like that. That's it. So we can actually close that. Easy done. All right, the tests, we're not going to worry about the tests at the moment. What we're going to worry about is this. So what I want to do is I want to have a simple select. We're going to have a class, the welk select component. This will be role equals, ooh, actually, let's go back and read some of this. Okay, we're good. All right. Label, we're going to select, we've got name, we've got ID, and so forth like that. All right, but we don't actually have a role. I don't know if there is a role for this. Aria role, combo box with no multiple attribute, no size greater than 1, otherwise list box. All right. I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to get rid of this for a second. I'm just going to put this in here like this. And what I'm going to do is I am going to edit our local stuff. I'm getting rid of that for the moment. What I want to do is actually, how do I import it? Oh, okay, cool. Import select component. Yep, cool. We'll keep it like that for the moment. The reason why I wanted that in there is I wanted to see what we can do. Alright, straight away, that is wrong. And this is also why I want to get rid of the select and all that kind of fun stuff. So in here, it just looks like that. Yeah, alright, nah. And that's the example that they're giving us here. Nah, that's fine. And Professor Logout, how are you going? Welcome, welcome, or welcome back, I should say. Hopefully you're being well. I'm just going to copy this. Once again, we're just going to go in, oops, wrong one. We're just going to go in here. We're just going to delete that straight away. We're just going to paste in what we've got there just for the test examples to see what actually happens. And if we like it, I mean, yeah, that's plain basic sort of select box. Let's rebuild it as a data that we can feed into it. All right, so straight off the bat, what I want to do is div class equals welk. This will be select component, like so. Oh, sorry. This will be a select straight off the bat. Sorry. Actually, yeah, I think it's. Yeah, they've just got it like that. All right. Now, so I'm just giving a quick think how I can actually implement this opt grouped functionality. And implement it in such a way that it's going to be fast. Because at the end of the day, I don't want the user to slide two different data sets. One with the opt group, one with the options. It's just, we can calculate the, yeah, we can calculate everything. All right. I've got to also think about the HR. Because I don't mind the HRs in there. So we actually have a look. I like the little HRs. They look nice. They split up the data. I kind of want to implement that too. Right. We won't need a label because this will just be a component. We will need to actually do the scope stuff. So this will be welk, select component. We'll have a look at what we do with the inputs and pretty much implement it so it looks similar. We should also pass through a model too. So very much like the checkboxes, we got a model passing through. And yeah, we just define the model. So I'm gonna do that right now. like that. It's only going to be for one input. And then in here, what we can do, vModel equals model. It's pretty stock standard, simple sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm just thinking about these. And how I would render them. And make it render in such a way that it won't be a problem. So I'm just having a good think about this. So what I want to do is I kind of want to set up an interface for the types. We also need the options to feed through too. So we need to sort of define the props. So going up here, define props equals const props equals define props. And then what we want to actually have is we're going to have options. We don't need to set a default value coming through because that will actually be set by the user at when they do the reference. Now this will be type. We're going to leave it as an array for the moment. I'm going to have to look up how we actually deal with this. This is going to definitely be required true. From here, we probably need to also import the computed from view. And then what we want to do there's two options which we can do. We can apply a watch, and then when the source changes, we update what we need. And then that will force everything to render it in correctly. Which might have to be done that way. I've also got to declare some variables then, or references, I should say. All right. I'm just going to import these. So we've got that, define model, define ref. I'm just going to go const options without group equals ref. That's just going to be a plain basic array. And then const options with group. I'm just working these out at the moment. I probably won't keep these, but yeah, I've got a bunch of different ideas of what I could potentially do. All right, we've got computed. I'm just gonna go define watch. So what we've got is watch, and it's just going to be options. Sorry, it should be props. dot options. I'm not too worried about the value, but give me 2 seconds. VueJS, watch deep. When call watch directly on a reactive object, it will implicitly create a deep. But what about a watch on a prop? All right, yep, that would work. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put that down there. We're just going to go up on 22. We're just going to delete 4 lines. We're going to go props. Options. And we want the deep to be true. So, yep, that's perfectly fine. No, new value will be equal to the old value here unless state.object has been replaced. And I think it has. Right, when we come through, we want to do that. Filter out all options without groups. We want to filter out all options with groups. Create group list. Another thing that we need. And then it should re-render everything. All right, so if I go define functions here, then what I want to do is we've got a function fetch group list. All right, cool. Now this won't happen that often. This will only happen in rare cases where someone modifies the select statement, or the options for the select statement. It'll happen on boot, essentially. It'll also need to happen on mount too. So give me a couple of seconds. What we kind of want to do is function refresh select. All right, if we go up to the top, what I want is on mounted. So on mounted, what we want to do is we want to refresh select. Easy done. The same thing is happening here. Easy done. We just go down here. We're just going to go like this. We're just going to paste in those options. In fact, we won't need to do that. We just got to go fetch group list, fetch options with group, and then fetch options without group. Now we only need the top one, the group list, to be run first. I'll actually do without group. Oh. There we go. All right, so I kind of want to define this properly. This is where I've got to look up interfaces. So we're going to create an interface right now. We're just going to call it select option interface.ts. Easy done. All right. And it's going to be very similar. That's probably an old interface. That one's been used. Yeah, all right, cool. I'm just going to copy this one. So import type component. We're not using that at all. We're exporting the interface. This will be the select option interface, like so. Yeah, we'll have label, we'll have value. I don't know about ARIA label. Let's actually have a look at this. Let's go accessibility select. We want select lists. The filter surrounds the entire group. No, option label. Oh, that's it. All right. Cool. I don't need anything else. Okay. I'll get rid of that. We can always add stuff in later. And then what we need to do is we need an opt group. Yeah, that's all we need. That's also just going to be a string. All right, I like that. So what I've got to do is I've got to import type. No, sorry, it's in this type, and it'll be select option interface from that, and then we go in here. I don't think we need that. Or maybe. All right, give me 2 seconds. I know I did this the other day. Wasn't part of the checkboxes, was it? No. Was it the tabs? Oh yeah, I've got to do that too. Type prototype. Yeah, there it is. All right, I knew I did it the other day. So yeah, we need type prototype from view. We go down here, we go type array as prop type, and then we've got select options interface, and we do it like that. Now it doesn't like a lot of what I've done here. And then utils like that. All right, sweet. Almost. There we go. Now I don't know why it's giving me the yellow squealies. It wants it to replace as that. They can't find that, and it's, I can't be bothered. That's the thing to fix another time. Now down here with the group list, we've got the ref, and then what I want to do is I'm going to go select option interface. Actually, no, this will actually be string array. This will be the select option interface, and this will be the select option interface. Yep. All right. I don't think we need it computed at the moment. I think that's pretty good. Good enough. Now, this is where so we're doing something like this. We're getting the distinct field from array of objects. Usually it's very, very quick. I just want to find the most efficient one. So we've got something like that. If we want to get like the name or something like that distinct, or in this sort of case, the age, I don't want to do a loop. So yeah, people are telling me to do something like that. All right, cool. Yeah. So I'm just going to paste that in for reference, but all that needs to actually happen is we just need to go group list.value equals, and then we want to go new set, and then it will be the props.options.map, and then we've got item, and then we're passing it to be item.optGroup. That's it. However, what if it's blank? There's no group. I think it works. So I've been in .NET land way too much. I constantly have to think about cases, null cases, and stuff like that. So, all right, we've just hit another ad break. All right, we're getting there. I think once I do this one, it'll be good. We'll implement it back into NearBeach. I'll probably change the button components and all that kind of stuff to say Welk button, just because I hate the naming convention of it. That's all. So yeah. But whether I change the whole entire naming system of everything, I mean, that's, yeah. Oh, have Circle CI fixed their freaking login page yet? No, they haven't. That's a bit weird, yeah. So I'm having a look at the Circle CI. I've been meaning to jump back in and double check a bunch of things, just because 031's coming out and so forth. You know, it's being built at the moment. Sorry, 032 is being built at the moment. I just want to make sure it's working correctly. Alright, so we're in here, we grab the group list, we're all happy, we're like, yay. We've got fetch options with group. I mean, these two could be squished down into one sort of function, but I purposely kept them separate. So what we got is we've got options with group dot value equals, and it's going to be the same sort of code. It's going to be dot 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 new set, and then we're going to go props dot options dot map, and then it's going to be item. No, it's going to be dot filter. Sorry, not dot filter. Where this will actually be something like that. Where we want to say any opt group where. Oh, it's pretty easy. So return item dot opt group does not equal undefined, and item dot opt group does not equal null, and item dot opt group does not equal an empty string. Easy done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to copy that. We're going to paste it in here, and we flip the thing. It equals undefined, or it equals null, or it equals a blank thing. So yeah, that way, that's how we separate those out. That's pretty easy. Yep. So I'm just having a quick think. There's probably way better optimizations out there for this. But yeah, not at the moment. All right, cool. So I think those are going to fill those out. That's going to be in there. That's going to be, yep, without groups. All right, so we're all happy with that. So down here, what we've actually got is we've got our first set of options. Now, I don't know if I want to render it at this level or have another component dealing with the rendering of those things. And keep coding forever. Yo, 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 how are you going? Socks will be happy with the treats. Alright, let's go on the secret screen. I think I've got treats behind me. Put the bed on. She's on the windowsill at the moment, casting her judgment. Alright, the treats are in the kitchen. I will be right back. Alright, in your bed. Going up in your bed? In your bed. Alright, in your bed. Good girl. Alright, we're going to move this guy out of the way. He's trying to take all your credit socks. There we go. And how have you been? Keep coding forever. Hopefully you've been well. There we go, Max. Give socks one more. There we go. was about to say, if you were going to chew on my mouse cord, you would be in big trouble, Missy. Oh, she's running off now. Alright. Get her back in frame. Doing great. We're great doing my onboarding in software dev Django HTMX. Oh, nice. I haven't used HTMX yet. So, yeah. One day, hopefully. Alright, so one thing I could do is I could put this in a component further down where we just send just that stuff. That way I'm not worried about the op group, and I think I'm going to have to do that, yeah. And I'm just thinking, how do I want to lay this out? Let's go select render option. I should put that plural. And I should do select render option groups. All right, we'll start with the select render option first. So straight off the bat, we need, oh, do we need an index? Yeah, we are pointing that one out. Let's have a look at tabs. I haven't done that for tabs, but I haven't finished tabs either. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I just haven't used it. It's on my list. My list is fairly long though. So, yeah. Alright, we've got cylinder render options. I'm just going to do that. I don't think we need an index. Famous last. Yeah, I don't think we need it because I don't think anyone's going to reach this subcomponent. So I need select render component. Select render, sorry, options. That will render all the options. We do need to actually have in here the select render options.test.ts. We'll add that to this later. And then in here, what we're going to do is we're going to render something like this. Alright, I'm just going to copy this one. We're just going to paste those in like that for the moment. So what I want to do, option. This is where we want to have a v4 statement equals, and this is where we've got a key and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm just going to copy the stuff that's up here because it fits perfectly. So we've got the options done. I probably won't need the props, but we'll just continue on. So what I want to do is we want for option in options. I need a new keyboard soon. Oh, there we go. Option in options where we got a key equals the option dot value, and then we go value equals option dot value. We need to pass down disabled too. So disabled equals option dot disabled. Just going to do that, and then option dot label. Is that. So it's something very, very simple. Yeah, we didn't need props. The interface stuff. All right. There we go. All right. Yeah, we don't have that option in the interface, so we can put it in. Make it optional. I don't know how to default TypeScript stuff, so why TypeScript interface default values? Let's see if we can actually do that. All right, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. Which is why we've got the double question mark there to go, hey, if it isn't defined, it's just false by default. We're all good with that. So that should render that out really well. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to have select render option groups. It's going to also add in the test file itself. So select render option groups.test.ts. Easy done. So that will be the equivalent of that. But we're going to need a little bit more data for that. Now, once again, what we need this stuff to pass through, pretty stock standard sort of thing. Then what I need to do, include first HR. That's just going to be type boolean. Default required equals true. Easy done. We're going to do that in a second. So to get this to work, we'll have once again an opt group. We'll have a v4 equals. Now, if I double check this, there's nothing too special in that. We've got our first HR up there. Oh, this might be a bit different. Now just gotta think. Might be the case that I don't use a HR. All right, not a problem. So I won't be able to loop through this and add in HRs, which will be annoying. Now, what I could potentially do is no, I'm backed in a little bit of a corner, but that's perfectly fine. Now, we've got options. We don't have group options yet. I'm going to key that in right now. That will be type array as prop type string array. We're just being very specific what we're passing through. So that way we've got group in option groups. And then the key will equal the group. and the label will also equal the group. Then we open it up. And this is where we call our other component, which I will just go back up here. I will go import. This will be the select render options from, and that's where we go select render options.view. We're all happy with that. And then we go down here and we go select option render options. And then we've got to apply a filter for that. And I keep forgetting if it's a function or a method that we want to do it. I think it is a computed. Import computed from view. All right, cool. And then what we want to do is declare computed. We'll have const get options, or filter options, I should say, equals computed. And we're passing through the group. And then what we're returning is the options.filter, where we'll have a row. Return row.group equals group. Like so. And I've just realized there's got to be props.options, and I need to go up here and go props. Hang on, const. Sorry. Bit of a mistake there. All right, so props options.filter. We'll go through the row, and then what we've got is, because we know what the options are going to be, we'll have opt group in here. We'll equal the group in there, and I'm just going. No, I'm going to keep this case sensitive. So, going down here with the select options, we're going to have the options equal the filter options, and then we're going to pass through the single group. Now this should be select options interface, where we got it like that. However, this will be, we need to output their computed type too. Give me a couple of seconds. I don't know this, so we'll look it up. VueJS compute type. Compute properties, we're just going to go type. It's the only one on the page. And it's a bit annoying because, yeah, I was hoping to get the type in here. I do have computed. Yep, computed. Oh. Yep. Where that sends about that. All right, cool. Ah, that's how we do it. All right. So it's like the reference. I've just got to put it in here, and I go select options interface. Do that as like that. Double check that I haven't made a spelling mistake. I made a spelling mistake, which is gonna happen all the time. Now this, we know, will be a string. I don't know why it's throwing up. Ah, it wants to be like that. All right, cool. That shouldn't be undefined. Alright, no overload matches this call. Yada, blah, blah, blah. Alright. So if props dot options dot length equals 0, return an empty thing. Should be needed though. Alright, I'll put undefined in there just in case. Oh, it's throwing up even more freaking issues. Types of parameter group and old value are incompatible. This might have to be a method. Give me a couple of seconds. Alright, cool. I've been going around this the wrong way. Function, filter options, and then we'll have group, which will be a string. Easy done. And then we'll just do something like this. Easy done. This should return select. This is where all the TypeScript stuff just throws me up a little bit. So select option interface like that. All right, cool. So it has to go there, and other cases it goes somewhere else, and yeah. All right, cool. That's done. All right, so we've got the select render options. So that passes all those groups down further down. We've got the option in here. This can all go now. And what I can do is with the local app, I can have a const options equals ref Yeah, I like that. All right, cool. Yeah, do import that, please. Hello. Oops, sorry, excuse me. So this will then be options equals options, but we've got to do it like that. So we've got the select component, we're just passing down the options, that's all, and then it should calculate everything. So if I go over here and I go to Welk, we don't have any options in there at the moment, but that's perfectly fine. I just haven't added any. So what I want to do is I want to go into here. I've got disabled, true, label, disabled option, value, disabled. Add missing properties. Oh, up group. Yep. All right. I've forgotten something. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to paste a little bunch of, actually, no. I'm going to do this properly. I'm going to make this one false. I'm going to do human. Yeah, why not? Wait. Human. And then I'm going to do cat. Cat, animal, dog, dog, animal, horse, horse, animal. All right, I think that's enough for the moment. Now, we have an error because we should be getting data. All right, we're not passing things down correctly. So I'm selecting the select component. We've got the options. There we go. The options are passing down. We've got disabled, labeled, all that kind of fun stuff. If we go down into... Alright, so that's the setup. That's the props. Yep. What we've got is we've got group list. We've got two. So I've got to ignore any that are blank because we don't want them. So... And we'll just hit another ad break. All right, cool. Hopefully everyone's going well tonight. Oh, it's the time. I'm hoping to have this one component done. That way I can continue on with doing more NearBeach sort of stuff. And I'm hoping to do some of the multi-select on the weekend. I just gotta figure out how I want to do it. And that's why I'm doing the select tonight. At least with the select, I can be like, all right, cool, this is how I did the select. With the multi-select, did I just want a select hidden in the background and have my own component at the front, and that way I can tell screen readers to ignore the component at the front and go to the select. If there is a screen reader, I've got so many decisions to make. So yeah, and then I got to figure out how it all connect up. How it glues together, so yeah, and also making sure it's efficient enough. I'm not too worried about making it overly efficient at the moment, which is why I'm not too fussed with the two filtered stuff in there and the map in there at the moment. yeah, not too fast. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, welcome back everyone. So we have the group list. We've got the options without a group, so disabled option and the human, and then we've got the options with a group, cat and animal, and all that kind of fun stuff. So what, I don't know why it's not rendering. Oh, probably because I haven't actually put it in here. Yeah, that's why. Alright, so first thing what we want to do is we want to go select render options, and then we want to go options equals options, and then what we want to do is select render option for groups, this is where we need to do, yep, sorry, I've made a mistake here. This will be options without group and options with group. And I think that's it for the moment. Now we'll need to pass through the ID and the name and all that kind of stuff next. Very similar to how we do it with the buttons, the tab components, and all that kind of fun stuff. Oh, actually, no, the tab components we don't do it, but the button components we do. No, we don't. Oh, I lie. It's definitely something we should potentially do. Yeah. Alright, not a problem. What I want to do, I want to go over here, boom, disabled option, human. Now, we're not rendering the other groups, and that's because I haven't passed through. We've got the op group, and then we got that, and then, oh, alright. Okay, let's click on this. Group options undefined. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. I'm gonna get rid of this one now. So what we need to do is we've got to get group. Oh, wrong one. And also, forgot to do that. Group options equals, no, that will be group options of group list. Might actually change that. That way it makes sense going all the way down. It's the same variable. So you don't, it's easy to program sometimes when you just have the same sort of variable from each different structure. And there we go, we've got it. Now there is a bit of a gap in here. I don't know why. We've got the disabled option working. We've got all of these other ones working perfectly fine. But, yeah, that's the blank group. That has, so when I do this, yeah, that's not gonna work. Alright, this is where I just go JavaScript, map with conditional. don't want to. All right, I'm gonna have to add in a couple of steps here. Alright, so we don't want it to equal that, and we don't want opt group to equal undefined, and we don't want opt group to equal null. Now, and hi, Gian, how are you going? At the moment, we're not working with anything with backend, but for NearBeach, NearBeach uses Django for the backend, so that's Python related, and we use VueJS for the front end. Yeah, and to get them both connected up with each other, we use the Django REST framework. So yeah. Also, welcome. I hope you're going well. I've made a mistake. Because it comes out as a group list. And we know this is going to be a string array. We're just putting that there so everyone is happy with that. Item does not equal nothing, and item does not equal undefined, and item does not equal null. And then it's not group list, sorry, it is group options. And I'm just going to put list here instead. It doesn't need to be super done. All right, so yeah, I think that looks good. So we're just clearing out anything we don't want out of there. And we're like piss off blanks and stuff like that. And there you go. Now we've got this looking how we want it to. What else can we start doing in here? We definitely should do the ID stuff. So very similar to the text input. Now, the text input itself has a label and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking, Vue and Django work good together. Yeah, they've been working good together. So, yeah. I have used NoSQL in the past. In this sort of case, no. So NearBeach has structured data. Very rarely will it have unstructured data. So the only case where it has unstructured data is when dealing with templates with the automated system. That's the only case with it. Also, Django does not officially support NoSQL databases. That's also another thing with it. However, I do know that there are third-party packages for this. So if you were to use Django, you can use third-party packages to connect up to MongoDB and so forth like that, which is what I have done in the past. So, yeah. Alright, so where was I? Yeah, I was having a look at this. We could use the label once again. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to use the label. Because if I have a look at that thing, yeah, all right. I'm going to make a couple of changes with this select component. Nothing major, we're just adding to it, nothing too scary. We are going to put in the label. This is going to be type of string. Required is going to be true, because we want the user to key in the label. We're not too worried about the length of the label or anything like that. I'm using Mongo for my little projects, CRUD or auth app. Is that a question? Alright, when usually dealing with data, you'll have the create, I can't spell, read. Oh, no? Alright, cool. Sorry, yeah, sorry, I didn't know if that was a question or not. Yeah, no, cool, no problem. Alright, so we've got the label in. Then what I want to do is I do want computed, so I've got to bring back into the computed stuff up here. Do type prop here. I can do stuff like that. All right, sweet. I can just go computed like that. We just scroll down. I like to do it before defining the functions. Define computed. We want to go const. And this is get ID equals, and I'll tell you what, I've actually done this before. I'm just going to copy those 4 lines over there. I'm just going to paste that in like that. And yeah, Bob's your uncle. There we go. We're actually replacing all of the spaces with hyphens. Then down here, what we're going to do is we've got this as a form group. So we're also going to put this in a form group. We're going to have the class, and it's going to be welk, and this is going to be the select component. Easy done. We just copy that and just paste it like that. We're just going to use the automatic linters to do that. Now, I'm not going to need that anymore because we've got it up there, but what we do need is we need a label, and we do something like that. Ooh, I forget. We can actually pass through tooltips and stuff like that. All right. I'm just going to, this is going to be the exact same code. So I'm just going to paste it like that, be a bit annoying like that. Delete that, let that fix it. With the select statement itself, we'll have the ID. We won't have a type. We will have a name. I'm about 90% sure select statements don't have placeholder, but I could be very, very wrong. All right, no, it doesn't. It just has that first sort of option, being like select your option, disabled and stuff like that. No, all right, cool, sweet. I'm just gonna close all of that. Close that. Close. I'm just cleaning up my tabs, don't mind me. We're going to go back into the welk stuff. So no placeholder. We'll have a V model. We won't have any lookups or any off. Yeah, we should have the check validations and stuff like that in here too. So accepted won't be key up. It'll be just the change. It'll be the check for validation. So now we're going to import all of this other stuff. So is required. That's a good validation sort of process that we should pass through. Min length, max length we don't need. Placeholder text we won't need. Tooltip we will need. All right, cool. We're fine with the model, except we have to actually tell the system that it is required. We'll need has error equals ref false at the moment. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. All right, that goes up to G. Check validation we will need. That will be part of the functions. Though I need to actually get rid of a lot of that validation. We do need the emit functionality, so that will be those 3 lines. A lot of this is pretty much boilerplate at this particular stage. The form group itself, that is a very good question. That should be ... form group and then form group.view. I'm happy with that. It doesn't need the mustache brackets at all, so let's get rid of that. We go down into the validations. So error message.value. That's where we go down here. So where am I putting the error message? That's not in alphabetical order. Oh, that's bad of me. There we go. Error message is all down there. You okay there, Socks? You're pacing again. This is going to be a very, very simple one. This is going to be has error. We could do this in one line. Actually, no, it's best to do that and then do the conditions. And then what we do is if is required, sorry, props dot is required and model equals nothing. Model.value equals nothing, then we have an error. Has error.value equals true, and then we just go an error message. The reason why I haven't keyed it up in here is because I'm editing 2 fields. It's just a little neater this way, that's all. And then, yeah, it's this field is required. Now, one other thing which I'm just realizing is we don't have an error message up here. And what's going to actually happen is for Welk, we're not going to implement the internationalization. We're going to implement the ability for users to pass down their custom error message. I've got to think about it properly. At the moment, socks off the keyboard. At the moment, just tossing up whether or not I start it right now, and I'm probably going to lean on a bit of a no. Because I haven't actually properly thought through the process of how I want to actually do it. And I think I need more components in there to see how they're going to be variable, how they're going to behave differently. Now, it might be one of those things that in the future, what I do is I implement internationalization at the Welk level also, thus not having the custom error messages, thus dealing with that issue in the library itself. However, there's a number of good reasons why users might want custom errors and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, I've got to think about it. Got to think how I want to actually do this properly. So I'm going to ignore it at the moment with the custom errors. It's just going to be this filter is required, full stop, everyone's happy, and then we just submit the value upstream. And then what we've got is element is missing end tag. All right, we're missing an end tag. So we've got the select, we've got the label. Yeah, that will be like that, and then yeah, then we got the label, and then we got the select, and then I've got to reformat this. This is going well, but something has broken. Oh god, something has broken. Look at that thing. Let's just hit refresh. Oh no, nothing is broken. All right, cool. And there we go. Now we can. Missing required prop label. All right, we can fix this up now. So we're going to go into here. We're just going to go in here, and we're just going to go label equals select option, single option. We also have in here. Oh yeah, we need the model. All right. All right, cool. And then I go down here and I go, oops, v model equals model. Like that. That connects all that up. And if I refresh, we've got no errors. And then yeah, when I change that, that kicks stuff upstream. All right, sweet. Let's move that off to the right. So we've started to sort of implement this really with how we want it to. Now we've got to deal with the styling. So I'm going to close that. I'm happy with that. Yeah, now we've got to do the styling. This, it's always a bit of a mess when it does this. Yeah, there's a reason why I've done it like this. But not to worry. Text input. I'm just going to scroll down. Because a lot of the text input will have very similar CSS. And we might as well go into it and actually sort of break it down and do what we want with it. So we've got the label, we've got the margin, we've got the span, we've got the dwell text red. So that will actually happen on the Welks component. Margin bottom 6. So if I click on this there, yep. All right, cool. Oh, we've got 6 pixels. I was certain I was moving away from pixels and using REM. So let's do that. Let's go pix to REM. Cool. Yep, alright. Still the same thing. And Evil in the Void, welcome! I hope you're going well. How have you been? They're trying to make me use IDEs and LLMs at works. I still use V, not even Vim. Oh, fair enough. Hey, if you're... the age-old truth, if you're fastest in that sort of method, go with it. So, yeah. Alright, I'm just double-checking the checkbox sort of stuff. Yeah, we're moving it to that. Okay, yep. Now I remember. Alright, yeah, so I was going from the top down last time, moving everything to the variables, and the idea being is, if people wanted to use Welk, I am going to give them the ability to easily override the variables in it. Yeah, we're just going to do that. And I think I did, no, I didn't do datetime pickers. Well, maybe I did. Yeah, no, I had problems with the, doing all the datetime stuff. Yeah, oh, I remember that. That was so painful. God, that was annoying. I had to put Welk down for a bit. Alright. So I'm just going to minimize those. We're going to minimize that. We're going to minimize that. Minimizing the locals and the utilities. What I want to do... So I want to open up styles, partial. And you'll see with the checkbox, variables, I'll put them so they're on the screen like this. We've got them like that. So we set them how we want them to do. I'm trying to... Yeah, it had all the same padding. So I'm trying to kickstart my brain remembering what actually happened. With the input one, we've got the label and the input. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. Actually, no, I'm not going to paste it because technically this is also the same as the input. Even though it's a select. Alright, yeah, I'm going to keep it so it references this one. Later in the future, if people are like, no, we want to decouple it from that, I will just decouple it. Alright, you should close the curtain soon. Alright, so I want to use this. I'm just going to put that over there. Oh, that's fine, I can close that. We'll come back to those ones. So we've got a label. And what I want to do is I want to go margin. And then I want to go var hyphen hyphen welk input welk label margin. Welk label top margin. Welk label right margin. Welk label bottom margin. Welk label left margin. And I get rid of that. And that's it. The text is fine. Border style, Welk border style, Welk. That's just meant to be width. That's just meant to be radius. That's meant to be color. Those are stock standard sort of stuff. I do believe yeah, we're not changing that. We're getting rid of that. Getting rid of that, getting rid of that. I think that's what we're doing. I'm going to have a quick look at the text input. No, not text input. Sorry. The date time picker. Yeah, we've bumped off everything. We've kept it simple. With the compact, the label. Oh, we've kept this really simple with the date time picker. All right. So with the compact, we are essentially getting rid of all of that. Oi. And we're doing that. Which might be fine. So we've got this. Alright, I like it. Now, we've just got to style the select because it looks horrible. Absolutely horrible. If we have a look at what NearBeach has, it's got these sort of things. Which is what we kind of want. So we'll have the border style. I'm just going to close that. Yeah, I'm going to... Alright, sorry, I'm just having a good think. This is actually meant to be a select, not a label. We copied some variables from elsewhere. So, what components? We've got the label we're happy with. We've got the span we're happy with. We've got the select. So the select is now doing that, which is nice. Are we seriously doing that border stuff? Well, border radius. No, I don't like the... I probably did it for the date times. Or have I just done it really big? Let's have a look. We've done 5 pixels there. If I... Oh, not 45, sorry. I mean... I like that a little bit better. It's the tiniest amount. Other things that I want to do is I want to add in a bit of padding. So I've got all of that. Import. Oh, it's not giving me the padding. Oh no, padding. 0.5 REM. And that's where I open up the import variables again. Input padding. All right, yep. So we're going to go over here. We've got the select. We're going to go padding. And we're going to go var welk input padding. And then with our compact, oh yeah, we've got it all like that actually. No, sorry, I made a mistake. We're doing it so whoever uses this has a little bit more freedom. Means I've got to type in a lot more stuff. But hey, that works perfectly fine. Alright. Ooh, I've just realized I've missed an ad break. I'm terribly sorry. Been concentrating on this. So there it goes. So that's looking like how we have it. I noticed that it doesn't extend for the full screen, but we're going to fix that. Excuse me for 1 second. I was going to grab a drink of water and stuff like that. I've also got to do a few things. I will be right back. Sorry about that. Just was hoping to do that in the ad break, but yeah. Alright, so most of that works with how we're going to set it up. I can see we need to do a few more things. That's easy done. That's just us styling stuff. So what we could do is under this now, we've got this down here. Actually, we don't actually have a class for this. This will be welk select render option group. Now, I'm just going to keep those in. I just want to see if anything happens. No, nothing actually happens. Even if I refresh it, nothing happens. Yeah, those option groups don't really do anything. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, don't do anything. That's perfectly fine. I'm also wondering why that's not 100% width. Each one of those options. Oh, now it is. Okay. Easy, John. All right. Just thinking what else I need to do for this. In this sort of case, because we don't have any styles to worry about, we're actually going to get rid of the option groups there. I'm just going to double check if we can. HTML, CSS, select styles. Explains how to create a fully customized select element using experimental browser features. Ooh, well, we don't want to do experimental. Having full control over styling, select, drop down, arrow icon. All right. I mean, that looks lovely. Look at it. We can go cat, we can go dog, we can go hamster, and we're like, wow. The icon's different. Everything looks and feels different for that, which, yeah. Sorry. A button element includes first child inside the select. So this is the form, pet select, button, select content, all right. And welcome, pull kit, Shar. Sorry, I'm terrible with new names. I'm absolutely terrible. Welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. Yeah. I mean, most of this I could just nut out, and I like using my brain. Right, is it gonna... Oh wait, the code's up here. So it does all of that, so that's a button, and that's selected content. Okay. Oh, sorry. And then, yeah, you just pick all your options like that, and yeah. We're not going to worry about sending icons down. That being said, if we require it in the future, I think we can do that using the component. But today, no, I'm not programming that in today. That's a future thing if someone requires it. So yeah, what they're doing is that's pretty much a button, and then you got the select down there. Okay. So it is possible for us to really deck out the select in the future. I'm not going to go that far tonight. I think having this simple, keeping this simple is going to be the better solution. God, this page looks horrible. And if I go to, all right, that's human, that's cat, yep, cool. As you see, it's updating pretty good. Yeah, all right, I think this select option is I think this is good. Yep. All right. So now that I'm happy with this, oops. If we're not using that, we get rid of that. Let's start writing our unit tests. So we're going to start at the options. I'm going to bring up my reference test from before. I don't have it over there. Sorry, there's some things that I want to actually do. Select render options.test.ts. Yeah, we want to import the describe test spec from vtest. Yep. We want to import the select options. Yep, like that. We want to import the mount from the @view.testutils. Like so, we're just going to lint that very, very quickly, and then we're going to describe the select. Yeah, all right, cool. This is going to be the simple one. This is just select render option component renders. That's pretty much it. This should all be async. Slots, no. This is part of the options. Give me 2 seconds. Card component. Yeah, that's part of that. I've forgotten how to actually do the props. But I know I've done them somewhere else. Let's check this one. It is props. I thought so. Alright, no, I know what I'm doing. So we haven't mounted it yet. We're going to go test wrapper equals mount, and then we do that, and then we want to write the props. This is where we sort of look at what we want to key in here. We also got a unit test for a different sort of edge cases, as best as possible, of course. So one thing that we want to do is, this is the select render options. We've only got the options. Now it's going to be something like that. What we want to do. So I'm just trying to think. We'll have a disabled one. We'll have a label. And we'll have an opt group. Like so. Actually, one thing I do want to test is if the user doesn't key in disabled or anything like that, we handle it perfectly fine. And we don't crash and burn and all that kind of stuff. All right, so label will be cat, dog, horse, and duck. Oops. And then yeah, we just do all of this. I've got to figure out the quick way of deleting a single word in Vim. right. I've learned something. So we're gonna roll like that. This will be fine, like this. So we've got the props. We've got the wrapper. And then we'll have const select equals wrapper.find select. Oh, I also have to have, not props, but not mixed in. Holy hell, my brain has just gone blank. Model. All right, expect select dot element dot value to be empty at the moment, which is what we want. To not be, not to be, and then we select cat. Like that. All right. So the idea here is we're just testing to see if this component will mount. We should check the label. Oh no, there's no going to be label or anything like that. Yeah. There's no select. There's just options. Alright, I've screwed up this little testing. What we want to do is we want to test for all of this being populated out. We can actually, in this sort of case, we're actually got options. So it'll be option, wrapper find, and it'll be option. And then make sure all elements are there. Expect input, option. It's gonna find all. And we don't have a model selected, so which is fine. This is just rendering stuff out. This is a dumb component, very dumb. So I've just got to pick a couple of those to make sure it renders out perfectly fine. Make sure the one that is disabled is disabled. And we've got to make sure that we render 5. I think I've got it. All right, so find all with options. So we want to expect the option. Now this should be plural. Yeah, I need a new keyboard soon. Options dot length to be. And there's 5 options, so we're going to say 5. Now, the next one is we're going to change these options, and we expect a different value. All right. Select render component as correct number of components, correct number of options rendered. Easy done. So we'd go through here. What we're going to do, we're just going to copy another one, and we're going to go human. Like so. This will then be like that. All right. right, select option. All options render. Select render option renders values correctly, or options correctly, I should say. I'm just going to get rid of those two. We're going to be dealing with those four. That's perfectly fine. What we want to do is want all the options. Make sure. Make sure everything renders correctly. I mean, we don't need to do it all of that. In this sort of case, we just need to find the first one. I'm just going to... And hi, how are you? Hopefully you're going well. Welcome, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. As we... yeah. As we wrap this up. Alright. Disabled options. So what we've got to do is we've got to go expect the option dot element dot label to be disabled options. Right. Expect option dot element dot disabled to be true. We want to expect option dot element dot opt group. We don't need to worry about opt group. So yeah, welcome. Yeah, we're just building up Welk today. The idea being is NearBeach will use Welk. And we're going to be using Welk in another project once we get 0.32 released. So yeah, we've got a couple of blockers with Welk. So Welk is actually blocking something else. So I need to actually implement a couple of features in Welk. That way I can continue on in NearBeach. So yeah, it's the juggling act at the moment, where you do a little bit over here, do a little bit over here and here and here, and then your project will eventually come together. So I'm just thinking up of unit tests for this particular dumb component. So this is a very, very dumb component. All it does is this, nothing. It just renders out the options, and that's just to make it a lot nicer up here, where all of a sudden, instead of having like a bunch of stuff like all of this, we've just got, all right, cool, select render options and select group render option groups and stuff like that. It's just so much simpler. So we've got the disabled, we've got the label, value to be, and this is where we've got it as disabled, and I think that's all we need it to be. Now with this one, what I like to actually do is I like to take the last one and I like to spin it on its head and double check that it's not going to be these random stuff that we keyed in before, whilst at the same time I should have pasted that in twice, and I don't know why I didn't do that, but that's fine. Whilst at the same time, we've updated it. So we have the element label that's going to be cat, disabled is going to be false, and the value is going to be cat. And I think that's it. So yeah. Yeah, this is just a dumb component. There's not much for me to test. Just to make sure that this renders out correctly. That's it. Can I teach you as well? Well, I'm not the best teacher. That, and also I'm trying to build up NearBeach at the moment. But we do recommend free code camp. Once, oh, there we go. Notebot boots up. I'll bump this on so you can see what I'm doing. I don't want that on that. You don't need to sign in. You just go menu. You can go to curriculum. That way you don't need to sign in. And yeah, you could just jump into something like learning JavaScript. You can sort of go into here and be like introduction. Just go into here and be like, oh, cool, and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a free online tool. My other recommendation is to build something. It doesn't need to be big. It can be very, very small, something that you can do in an hour or two. And the idea is you build a little project and then you move on. And then you build another little tiny project and move on. It might not even be a project. It might be like, can I do this? And then you just keep building these little tiny things. But my recommendation is after about a month or two, what you do, this is you, is you look back at your first sort of projects and stuff like that and realize that you can do a lot better. And my recommendation then is to do better and so forth like that. So yeah, programming is a constant ongoing learning thing. So yeah, how the web functioned 15 years ago is completely different to today. How the web functioned 10 years ago is completely different to today. How the web functioned 5 years ago is completely different to today. So yeah, it's a great learning experience. So yeah, and one other thing is AI should be treated as a tool, not a crutch. And what I mean by that is don't just use it. Use books, read documentation, try and figure it out yourself. Don't rely on AI. If you can't hop into an airplane and program, you got a problem. Alright, let's get back into it. And don't be afraid of making mistakes or anything like that, and don't be afraid of having to know everything. So you don't. You'll see me look up things all the time. But you'll most likely see me look it up with documentation first and so forth like that. Alright, I'm going to do the unit tests. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go npm run to see what we actually called it. Alright, cool. Npm run, and then we've got test, and then unit. And we failed. Now that's fine. I'm not too fussed about that. What I am fussed about is I thought I had this. So, there we go. It does open something. So the select component tests and the select render option groups did not work. All right, because there's no test cases in there. That's perfectly fine. But the one which we just did with the select options rendered perfectly, worked perfectly fine. I'm happy with that. We're going to jump back into, actually, we're going to close that. We're going to close that. I am going to now work on this one. So this should be, and this is where I've got to be consistent, this should be select render option groups .test.ts. All right, I'm just going to import those basic sort of things. Then we're going to describe. This will be like that. All right, we're happy with that. How have I? All right, cool. Yep. That's okay. All right, this should be select render option groups. Renders. That's pretty much it. This will be async, an async test. And then what we want to do, const, we want a wrapper. That's just going to mount all of that. We're all happy with that. Now we want to get rid of the checkbox. Oops, oops, wrong line. Oops, wrong line again. And then what we want to do is, I do believe we're going to have props. So I'm going to open up this. We've got the group options and we've got the options itself. So what I've got to do now, this is not exactly a dumb component. Sort of dumb. But it does have a method in it, which we should be testing for. We should also test out the op groups. I'm not going to test out the options it rendered. I mean, I could. Yeah. Just thinking of a smart way to actually test this. Where give me 2 seconds. View unit test function. I don't know if this is good practice or not. Do upgrade to view 3. It's giving us the view 2 stuff. Just go away. VueJS. There we go. Oh, gave us a. My God, Google, get your head together. Fuck, it's getting useless now. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm gonna use DuckDuckGo to find you. All right, view 3 unit test functions. Testing, why test, yada yada, when to test, yep, testing types, unit, so we're at unit sort of thing. However, unit tests are written to verify that small isolated unit code is working. Alright, a unit test usually covers a single function, class, composable, or module. Unit tests focus on logic correctness and only concern themselves with a small portion of application's overall functionality. They mock large parts of your application environment. Yep. In general, unit tests will catch issues with functions, business logic, and correctness. All right, cool. Yep, which is what we want. So we do have, that's for helpers. All right, yep. Alright, as mentioned previously, unit testing is typically applied to self-contained business logic components, classes, modules, or functions that do not involve UI rendering, network requests, or other environment concerns. These are typically alert modules unrelated to Vue. Alright, cool. So whitebot unit testing indicates are aware of the implementation details and dependencies. They are focused on isolating the components under tests. These tests are usually involve mocking some, if not all, your components' children. Yep, alright, cool. Black box here, you get to kind of unaware of that. Alright. So we are using retest. So, ooh, sorry. But yeah, all of these. All right, don't assert the private state. All right, cool. Comments. Ultimate job is to render the correct DOM output. So tests focusing on the DOM output provide the same level of correctness assurance, if not more. Well, all right, cool. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on the output. Yeah. All right. But first, what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that this renders. So we've got the props. What I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow the props that we had for up here. We're just going to borrow this one. Oops, sorry, I mucked that up. Alright, so we've got I'm gonna do that. I don't need the disabled one because this is select render option group. So yeah, we won't ever pass through a blank opt group. We'll do another unit test to make sure that happens like that. Should be good. So we pass through the props. 4 animal, 1 human. I'm gonna knock that down to that. It's just going to be easier for me to actually do. So we've got the options, and then we should have group options. Should be animal and human. Once again, we're not worried about what's being passed down here because that calculation happens up further. That should be like that. So we've just mounted that. And then what we want to do is if we have a look at this, we're rendering out opt groups, and we're going to render out 2 opt groups. All right, cool. So we're going to have const opt groups equals wrapper find. And it's not option, it's going to be opt group. All right, and then we're going to expect the opt groups to have a length. Give me 2 seconds, sorry. Sorry about that. All right. I realize I've done wrapper.find, and that's going to be find all. And then length is going to be here to be, and then that's going to be 2. So we've got 2 groups in here that are going to be rendered out. Then what we want to do is animal opt group, or sorry, I'm just having a quick think how I want to actually, I can do this in all in one test. All right, cool. So expect Actually, no. First, what we've got to do is we're going to go opt animal opt group. Equals opt groups 0 dot find all, and then we're going to go options. So we're finding all the options, and then we expect the animal opt group dot length to be, and that should be 4. And then we're gonna go human opt group. Oops. Human opt group equals blah, blah, blah. Oops. Sorry, I thought I was gonna do that. That's gonna be 1, and then we're gonna go expect human opt group dot length to be, and that should be 1. Easy done. All right. We don't need to check the rendering of those options because we've done that at the lower component. I just got to make sure that these are that functionality is working, and that we've got 3 under animal, 1 under human, and everyone will be happy. So. Easy done. Let's go over into here. We do have an error. I typed 4 instead of 3. I can't count. There we go. So that one's working. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and we're going to do a render test. Renders option group correctly. We're going to stick with animal. Like so. We don't need to worry about all of this data. What we got is opt group equals wrapper dot find opt group. We're happy with that. And then what we want to do is we are expecting, and if we have a look at how it gets rendered out, we expect the label to be the same as the group. That's pretty much it. That's it. So we expect the opt group dot label to be animal. Just gonna do that. No. Screw it. That's it. All right, cool. So that's one of our tests. And then, like I said before, I like to do the opposite. And this will be human. We just go up to here. We just got to copy this down. That's fine. We're just going to make sure that these two match perfectly fine. We then just copy. We just need to copy that one. We just need to type in human. And we just need a not to be. And that's it. So that's all the tests I can think of for that particular component. Once again, these are very, very dumb. There's not much business logic with them. That's probably the best way to sort of get that, test that rendering out. And once again, I don't need to test the components further down, do I? No, I don't need to, because we've already done the filtering tests. I don't need to worry about how it's rendering them down further, because we did the filter test up here. Renders and filters correctly. Alright, cool. So I can get rid of that one. I can close that. I can close that. I can then open up this particular one, and what we're going to do straight away is we're going to go select component.test.ts. We're just going to grab those three like we always do. We're just going to paste those in. We're going to get rid of the checkbox because we're going to go and import the yep, like that, and then we're going to describe select component. This should be async. Yep, like so. And then we've just got this like over here. We've got the test, and then we've got the select component renders. Once again, async. We bump it open. We've got a const wrapper. It's going to be mount the select component. Whoops. Alright, like that. Then we've got the props. We'll key in the props in a minute. Add tests here. Alright, cool. So with the select component, what we've actually got is we've got if it is required. We've got a little bit more that we've got to test. There's less dumb here.
Oh, hey, sucks.
Yes, I know. You're like, yeah. There you go. Alright, say hi to stream. So we've got to test if the is required is working. We've got to test if the validation is working. We're going to test if the label is working. All of that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we test all of that. The options, once again, we'll copy them from elsewhere. The tooltips, messages, we've got to we don't need to test those, because once again, there's subcomponents. All we're doing is we're grabbing that data and we're passing them down into a subcomponent, and those rendering tests will happen downstream. So I'm not worried about that at all. All right. So we need just the test the options label, and the is required. Yeah, that's all we need to test. I'm not too worried about the watch or anything like that. That will actually get tested when we because all the watch does is refresh, and that gets tested right away on mount. Yeah, all right. All right, let's jump straight back into it. So with the select component, we've got this. We're going to move the keyboard away from Socks because she's in her little I'm going to jump on things mode. We're going to go down here. We're going to go is required. We're just going to go false for this one. That's perfectly fine. We've got the options. I'm going to open up that array. I've closed what I wanted before. I'm just going to open it up again. So we're going to go select render options tests. Like this. We're going to grab this, which is 6. Oh. Wrong one. We're going to grab this one. Now, it's only 4. That's fine. I'm not too fussed about that at all. We're going to add in another one. We're going to... do something like this. And then what I want to do, apple, apple, and we're going to have fruit, orange, pear, peach, all right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 animals and one. All right, cool. So now we have actually tested the group breakdowns, but I've got to do another test at this level. And the reason being is I've got that functionality that splits it up into 2 different sections up here. I do want to actually test that. So we've got that, we've got the options, we've got is required. Now, what other... Oh, label, we need label. And what I need to do is I'm going to please select an option. Easy done. Sorry, I'm just stuck in thought. All right. So we've got that. We've got the wrapper. What we want to do now is we've got const. We've got a select equals wrapper.find, and we're going to get a select. Easy done. Now, what I've got is I've got an expect the selector.element .id to be this is where I've actually got to look up the business logic around this. Actually, that's got to be a select, not input. This is a props label, all that kind of stuff. All right, let's close those. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Let's go over here. We are on another ad break. All right. And Sox is there. She's like, hello. Which reminds me, I'm gonna hook up my DSLR as a web camera. To use a Canon DSLR mirrorless camera, we're going to install Canon EOS webcam utility software, connected camera. All right, cool. Do webcam utility. Does it work for Linux? I don't know. Mac or Windows? All right, Linux. Use Canon DSLR as webcam. Install Gphoto 2, FFmpeg, and utilities, and then stream the live onto. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, I was just seeing if I could use my DSLR as a webcam, which would be a lot better in the future. Alright, so one mistake. I've got the select there. I'm going to simplify the label for starters. Hey, Max. Yep. Oh, I've got so many cats on the desk. Thank you. What we have is, please, options. Like that. And we're just going to leave it like that. So the select ID will be correct. If I go into this component down here, we scroll down here. We'll test the label in a second, but that will be a different test. Got to make sure this one works. So the ID is working. The label or the name should be working. So what I want is expect select element.name to be, and that's going to be options. Easy done. Sorry, socks. I know. I need a wireless keyboard, so I'm not, and no mouse, and be able to use just keyboard commands to go around. The value would be nothing, so expect select.element.value to be absolutely nothing. Easy done. That's pretty much it. I've got the test still running. All right, it's still working perfectly fine. Cool. Now, what I've got to do is I've got to test some other components. The label. So const label equals wrapper dot find label. Easy done. Expect label dot element dot HTML. No, inner HTML. Inner text. And that's just going to be options. No, that failed. Ba-bam. Oh, fuck off. Excuse my French. All right. Undefined. Do we not have a label? Yeah, we do. Alright, sucks no. Come on my lap. No. Alright. There we go, sweetie. In your bed. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do that. I'm going to see what actually happens. I'm going to hit play. Oh. That is a bug. Oh. We've got a space that shouldn't be happening. I'm just going to trim it. There we go. That's fine. All right. I'm not too fussed about that. So we've got the label. We've got the select. I'm happy with that for the moment. The other thing that we got to do is why is that throwing up an issue? We got mount, we got the select component. I just think the lint is going crazy. All right, so we've got the select IP. All right, cool. What I want to do is I want to from here with the label. What we want to do is we want to go opt groups. That's just going to be const opt groups equals, and that's going to be the select dot find all. It's not going to be options. It's going to be that. And then what we want to do, expect opt group dot length to be, and that's where we go to. And then what we want to do is confirm correct rendered values. Actually, options, const options equals select find all options, and then expect options dot length to be, that's going to be 1 because we've got the one disabled up there. Cool. We're not testing if it is disabled. We know it's going to work because that's passed down into a lower component. We're just making sure that everything's sort of split up correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to have animals, and we're going to have const animals, animal group equals select dot. This is going to be the first one. Dot find all options, all option, and then we're going to expect animal group dot length to be, and we had that as 1, 2, 3 up here. We're just going to do 3. We're all happy with that. Sorry, that's not going to be that. That's going to be opt groups 0. So we're just going to copy all of that. We're going to paste that in. We're going to now do fruit. We're just going to go fruit. Yeah, that's going to be fine. And then I think it was 5? 4. Oh, and we got fruit group. Expected to receive 0, so I've screwed up somewhere. That's fine. We'll fix it up. Won't we, sucks? She's like, no. So the opt groups. It's where I double check everything. Don't cause trouble. Yeah, it's not finding the opt groups. Not a problem. What we can do. Okay. Yeah, this is all good. Yeah, this is the... We should have op groups, but I don't know if it's going to be rendering the components below. In which case, we might need to tell it to do that. Because I actually do want to test this. Because this is a good test for that case, to be like, yep, all of that is going to be rendering correctly. Okay. Because in reality, it's sending stuff straight down. It's not rendering out those groups up here. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, this mounted. That's part of view test utilities. So view test utils mount shallow. So async unmounted. Yep. All right, test mount global. View test utils provide some advanced features from stepping components and directives. A stub is where you replace an existing implementation with a. All right, no. All right, so we should be rendering stuff out. Here's the report. Here's the console. Missing required prop. Model value. Sorry, big yawns. Been a long day. It'd be good if I could see it, what it would look like. All right, I'm gonna close that. So we've got all the form groups. Yep. We've got the select component. There it is. We've got these options. That should be rendering out correctly. Yeah. Okay, be good. Now, I know it's working. What I'm going to do is going to see what happens. Easy done. We go back over here. We're just going to hit play. We're going to hit the report. Yeah, it's not... Right, that's got a fail still. We're happy with that fail, but what I've done, give me 2 seconds, is added a console log, and I'm hoping to get information out. Nah, alright, damn. So I'm just going back to the select. So we've got the select, and then we got some options up there, and then we've got option groups and some options in there. I'm going to do some random tests. I don't really know how. Got a wrapper one. Hang on a minute. Oh. So I'm just going through to see what I can do. test utils. And sorry, Veer, I just saw your message. Can run your project once. What do you mean? All right, view test utils. Render child components. I can't spell. Mount and shallow mount, but didn't get what I wanted. I use render method, which uses view server render under the hood, which it might be also the case that this just doesn't. Just wondering if it doesn't render the child elements. In which case, that's fine. What we'll do. Oops. Have to delete that. That will be fine for the moment then. And then what I've got to do. Select component renders, filters work correctly. All right, so all of that is done like that, and then hang on, I better answer. The use of the composition API limits the way the components can be tested. As a rule of thumb, it's supposed to be treated as a grey box. This also creates a problem because there's no real DOM against it. On out, click, all right, cool. Alright, but anyway, we're just going to go down here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to go options, and I'm going to go find all. But we also had components in here. Alright. I'm just going to put in a random number. I don't think that will work. Yeah, it's not getting anything in the lower components. Oh, no, we don't want the render. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to come back to this. What I'm going to need to find out, need to test to make sure we have 2 option groups. Each option group has the correct number of options in it. Alright, cool. That's annoying. I'm just gonna have to research that. And there we go. Everything should be running now. If I go over here and I do this and get that test running again. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, what else did I kind of want to test? If I can't... Oh, is required. I need that for the is required. So I'm just going to paste this in. We only need to focus on the label. Renders is required correctly. Doesn't, but that's fine. We have a look at it. We're saying options star. When in reality, if we have a look here, it's in a span. This is where I think I had that spelt wrong. Alright, cool. And then what I wanted to do is insert it in a HTML. We'll go text content. And there we go. Perfect. So that one's perfectly fine. I don't know why the I don't know why the thing is saying that's incorrect. That's throws up an issue being like, oh, yeah, what the fuck. All right. What else do I have? Yeah, I don't know how I can get to those options. Oh, and we've just hit our last ad break. All right, so yeah. I'm going to do a release with Welk. I'm going to have to do it tonight. I can only do it on my laptop though. So, yeah. That's going to be a problem. Oh no, I can push it and do it. Yeah, alright, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm going crazy. Okay. And another thing that I want to do tonight is I want to do a release for NearBeach. Just because we've got a couple of things to do. It'll be quick and easy. I'm going to probably put down these unit tests for the select. I've got to think how I want to tackle the multi-select, which will probably be a lot harder to do. Yeah, it'll be a lot harder to do, but that's perfectly fine. I will probably also start renaming a lot of the components because having component is really pissing me off. So I'll probably have it have Welk out the front and do it that way. I think that's going to be the easiest way. So yeah, but I'd rather do that earlier than later. Anyway, let's get this pushed up. Implementation of the select component. we've just got to run this through. What am I thinking of? We've just got to run this through accessibility and stuff like that. Got to double check that we're hitting all the accessibility goals and recommendations. So yeah, but that's fine. All right, let's actually go 0.31. We're on the develop branch. We no longer need this open up here. We're going to go to source vm activate, like so. I've just pulled the latest code. We're just going to close all of this. I'm going to close pretty much all of this. This is fine. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to go GitHub. We've got NearBeach. We do have a pull request that has come in. We're bumping up rollup. Yeah, that looks good to me. Oh, I'm gonna sign in. Crud. Gotta verify. All right, give me 2 seconds. I am just gonna do this. It's all right, you guys. Not gonna see my keyboard. I'm not doing that again. Oh, no, it's not at the... all right, yep. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, just didn't want to dox anything silly. Let's just go back over here. Let's drag this down. Let's go. All right, cool. Submit review. Looks good to me. We're just gonna merge this in. This gets merged into main, but don't worry about that at all. We'll fix this up. What else did I want to do? We've got no other pull requests. Not yet. Another thing that I want to check out, yeah, no pull requests over here. Where our actions are, we've got the base automation happening. And that happened today. All right, cool. Let's go git checkout main, git pull, git checkout develop, git merge main. Let's do, let's remove the node stuff. npm install. I'm gonna do an audit. Yep, there we go. npm audit. npm audit fix. npm audit fix force. npm audit. npm run prod. Now, whilst that's actually doing that, what I'm going to do is source vm activate. I'm going to go Python 3 manage run server. Yes, I can't spell. So that's running the server. We've just done that. npm run e2e. I'm just running the no such directory open test auth. gonna stop it. Copy link. Sorry, bright mode's on, I know. I'm just gonna open up PyCharm. Just gonna go over here. I'm just gonna cancel this. I'm also gonna go over here. Make sure this is running. Now, I got two versions of NearBeach on my system. One is the 032 refactoring. The other one's the old one. So if I open up the old one, this window, I should be able to play NearBeach. Be able to get it up and running. We go to localhost. Perfect. All right, cool. Admin next. All right, cool. What I want to do, I want to do a new migration file. And we just load in the data. So from the NearBeach fixtures, we've got the base and JSON, and that should be that. That way when we hit run, and we go up here in localhost and go admin, it logs in perfectly fine. And I think that was the problem. And then if I do npm run e2e, oh. Okay. I'm going to let it run to completion. We're almost done. There we go. We're up to 386 now. We passed most of the tests. So if I go fail, it's just the mobile Chrome, which is a known issue that we have. The mobile Chrome fails all the time on here. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to be happy with that. And sometimes if you just run it again, it just works perfectly fine. This annoys the hell out of me all the time. Sorry, this test does take a little while to do. We only really do this test when we're just about to do a deployment. It's just to cover ourselves to make sure everything's working perfectly fine. There we go. All right, cool. Everything passed. I'm happy with that. I hate that Chrome, mobile Chrome thing. So another thing that I got to do is I've got to go down here. We've got to actually have the, not the playwright report, but the snapshots. So test results, shakeout, admin. We just make sure everything loads up on the page. It looks like it has. I'm happy with that. Cool. We do that with the dark admin too. Yeah, I'm happy. All right, git status. we actually have, we're not adding that. We actually have a number of static file changes, which is good. So we're going to go git add NearBeach. We're going to git status again and git add package. Git status. We don't want to add in that database. All right. Git commit. Well, this is where I've got to look up some stuff. So we're going to go to github.com NearBeach. We're just going to go into the tags. 107. 0.31.107. Just making sure. Yep, I got that correct. This just needs to be release. Oh. Give me 2 seconds. Git change to SSH. All right, so give me a couple of seconds. Sorry, I've just got to do this. Alright, I want SSH, get remote, set URL origin. Copy that, paste that in. Right, git push. Cool. All right. Clicking on that. So git status. We only have that in there. That's perfectly fine. In fact, I'm just going to remove it. I don't think I need it. It's just a backup. Alright, we've just done this. We've run our tests. We're going to do a compare and pull. This is library updates. Security patches for the libraries used by NearBeach. Alright, cool. We're just going to do a create pull request. There's not much changes in here. A lot of this we can actually beat. If we go npm run unit, npm run unit test, that should pass really, really quickly. Yeah, done. All right. I've beat all of that. I know all of that's not going to be changed or anything like that, so I'm just going to... I'm cheating. We don't want to delete branch. What we do want to do is we're going to go here. We want to go create new release. Going to paste that in. We're going to go 0.31.107. We're going to create a new tag. Go 0.31.107. Generate notes. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yep. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. Cool. Okay, we've done another release tonight. Alright. Who can we raid? Yeah, I know who to raid. Pretty cool dude. Alright, we're gonna raid Hypnotic Games. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for being here tonight. It has been wonderful. We got a lot done. Essentially, I'm going to continue on with the other, hopefully the multi-select. I've got to figure out how to get those sort stuff working and stuff like that. That's just a bunch of Google searches and documentation, and it's going to be annoying. I think it's just not rendering those lower components. I kind of want it to do that so I can actually test to make sure everything's getting rendered perfectly fine. Anyway, let's hit the raid button. Anyway, thank you. And for those on YouTube, sadly you won't be able to join us with the raid, but thank you very much for being here, and I do hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It actually does help the channel.